Chapter 31 can only say that there is no cooperation. Teacher is so slow. I wasn't late. He was late. Damn it. Obito, the teacher may have something to do. Quote. Kakashi glanced at him, not knowing how to vomit. You also know that you like to be late, but indeed. As a Jonin, being on time is an indispensable professional creed. How can you be so late? Shouldn't you be watching in the dark? Holding White Fang's dagger, he secretly looked around. After a while, Kakashi froze, turned his head slowly, and looked at the tree not far behind him. Good afternoon everyone. Next moment, Watergate appeared before their eyes. So fast, Kakashi was shocked. This speed. Among the people he had met before, only Jinyi had such a terrifying blinking technique, and now, he saw the second one. Teacher, you are very late, Obito said angrily. Ha ha ha, in fact, I arrived very early, and I have been watching you all the time. Obviously, only Kakashi has the vigilance. You too, unqualified. What? After Obito heard it, he was immediately dumbfounded. Failed. The exam hasn't even started yet. Of course, Lin has the talent of medical ninja, and started learning medical knowledge at a very young age. It is the type of ninja we desperately need, so I grant Lin the approval, but you. Kakashi, Lin, you can vote whether to stay with Obito or not. Minato Namikaze's smile was gentle, but his words were not at all gentle. He thought about trying to be serious before, but Jinyi said that he was not intimidating, so it would be better to say such things with a smile. Watch now. Sure enough, it was a deterrent. Obito was dumbfounded, his mouth moved, and he didn't know what to say. Good guy, I thought I was going to take the exam, but it turned out that I was out of the exam before the exam started. Kakashi was thinking seriously. Bring soil. Not really, it's not a matter of strength, but this kid's personality is free and unfettered. It is very difficult for him to cooperate with him. He has seriously considered whether to replace Obito. But, before he had a chance to speak, Lin said first, Teacher, how can you do this? Obito is also working hard, give him a second chance. I wasn't late this time, I really worked hard. Watergate smiled and nodded. I won't be late in the future. In a hurry to bring soil. Seeing this Junin really intends to kick himself out. They did not doubt Watergate's abilities. Because they all knew more or less, Minato was the youngest Jonin before Konoha, and he was also a disciple of Jiraiya, one of the three ninjas, and he wanted to kick Obito out of nowhere. Where's Kakashi? Me, if I were to choose, I would definitely not keep him, but forget it, whatever. Kakashi saw Lin's pleading eyes and didn't say any more. Then, the assessment starts. The assessment items are very simple. As long as you hurt me, you will pass the test. The assessment starts now. Minato Namikaze squatted over there, seemingly unprepared. Disperse. Really, Red Yugi sighed. It was really difficult to expect Obito to understand the tactics, and it was Kakashi Hatake who gave the order in particular. Since entering school a few years ago, Obito has not dealt with Kakashi. With a black line on his face, Asuma glanced at Shisui, and then at Obito who was left in place in the distance. What a heart. On the opposite side is Joinin. The three of them specified various tactics and cooperated with each other to the limit, but they still couldn't touch half of Beijing's hair, let alone you, Obito. Don't say it, at least the technique of how fireball works well. Kyungsu smiled. Bringing soil is not without merit. He is very proficient in his fireballs and shuriken, and Kanai is also good at playing, but his brain is lacking, and his various thinking and judgments are not very good. Simply put, others hang their tails because they have no talent, and Obito is simply because they have no brains. Unfortunately, it is really difficult to hurt people with the fireball technique. Really, what he burned was just a stand-in. Lin had no choice but to come back to rescue, but Kakashi didn't hesitate at all, just threw a shuriken from a distance for cover. Shisui said inexplicably, why did he hide? Okay. Asuma turned her head sideways, not quite understanding his question. It was Yugi Hong, who explained a little. Kakashi is like this, I can't say a few words. Zishui, what do you think we should do at this time? Kyungsu didn't answer directly. Obito and Lin have already been retained. As the strongest combat power in the team except for Joinin, we must assist them in retreating at this time. Shisui said, keep watching. Kyungsu is non-committal. At this time, the situation in the field has changed. Watergate is out. Although Obito and Lin fought hard, where is his opponent? Seeing to lose, at this moment, a sword light burst out from the ground. Kakashi, what a quick knife technique. Asuma was taken aback. This was the first time he had seen Kakashi take a shot with all his strength. He was fast and decisive. He was completely a veteran of the battlefield, not like their peers at all. But, no use, Watergate is faster. The sound of weapons colliding can be heard from far here. Obito and Lin tried to join the battle, but they couldn't get in at all. Although the attack continued, the effect was very general. What do you think? It's not right. Without cooperation, the fight was chaotic. I think so. Shisui and Hong expressed their opinions one after another, and when they got to Asuma, they had nothing to say, so they had to repeat one sentence. Actually, it can't be said that there's no cooperation, it can only be said that there's no cooperation. Originally, Obito and Lin had some cooperation and tacit understanding, but as soon as Kakashi joined, the battle group was too messy to see, let alone exerting their own strengths. Whether they could exert their own strength is a problem. Team fighting has never been a solo show, except for being too strong. Obviously, Kakashi wasn't that strong. If you let the three of you go, do you have the confidence to defeat Kakashi and the others? Keiichi asked. Feeling okay. Asuma thought for a while. Shisui and Hong also nodded lightly. Kakashi is strong, but he is only one person. As long as Obito and Lin are dealt with, and then turn to deal with Kakashi, will they all be counter-killed if they fight one? Watergate, let them go up later. Okay, then I'll finish it quickly, lest they consume too much chakra. After the shadow clone finished speaking, it immediately disbanded. Next moment, on the battlefield, Watergate's speed suddenly doubled. Only the sound of dang dang was heard, and Kakashi, Obito and Lin's forehead guards were all knocked off. You, all failed. Minato's face was serious. Looking at the three of them, and finally looking at Kakashi, he said, if ninjas are like this in your eyes, then I advise you to go back to school, and don't go to the battlefield to harm others and yourself. Quote. Kakashi grasped the short knife, glanced at Obito, turned his head and snorted, obviously dissatisfied. Not convinced. Okay, just right, I invited Jinyi Shengen in the first class. You can practice with them and see how other teams are doing. Watergate is very rude. He was really annoyed, and understood why Kakashi didn't want the Chunin team, so the third generation could only assign him to himself for reorganization. How does this character work? Chapter 32 You're out of your mind. Mr. Jinyi, the first class. Kakashi was startled. Next moment, he saw Jinyi arrive with three people. Asuma, Kurenai Yugi, and 5-year-old Shisui. Kakashi was immediately dissatisfied. Shisui may be a genius, but he is also a genius. He graduated at the age of 5, he graduated from Chunin at the age of 6, and he has been a Chunin for 3 years now. For such a team, you can do it alone. I didn't want to come down, but you guys are so ugly, you don't look like a team at all. I think I should teach you what a team is. Kyo stared at Kakashi without looking at anyone else. That's right, he was targeting Kakashi. With soil stupid, are you stupid too? No, Kakashi just didn't like it, and felt that working with Obito would drag down his combat power. In fact, in the previous missions, his choice was the same. He will do whatever is beneficial to the mission, but in fact, many times his teammates are not helpless. So cold-blooded, likewise, he looked too high on himself. Kakashi noticed Jing Yi's gaze and snorted coldly, feeling quite dissatisfied in his heart. Let's start, let's go and fight, I'll be able to do some medical ninjutsu, and general injuries can be dealt with. Hyunsu said lightly. Afterwards, he immediately left with Minato Nika's. Superior, Kakashi said nothing. At school, he was the strongest among his peers. A few years later, he didn't think he could even beat the 3 of Asuma. Neither side retreated, but instead threw shuriken to contain them in formation, while secretly observing for opportunities. Kakashi is not reckless. He has observed the state and position of Obito, Rin and the enemy, but... Bang! After a smoke bomb, the first squad of the 3 squads rushed out of the smoke. Separation. Kakashi quickly approached Obito and the others, but... When? Ninja collision. Behind him, Shisui slashed with a knife. Real body. The other party intends to use the beheading tactic. Kakashi avoided it with a physical technique, and quickly understood the opponent's tactics in his heart. Beheading. Exactly. He pulled out the white fang dagger and slashed towards Asuma. I come. Obito's voice fell, his hands were sealed, and he opened his mouth to spit out a big fireball. Kakashi cursed inwardly, and had no choice but to put away the offensive. However, at this moment, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. Only 2 people. What about the red sunset? Careful. Kakashi, who was avoided by the avatar technique, quickly opened his mouth to remind. However, it's too late. At this time, in the sight of Obito, Rin, and Kakashi, a cherry blossom was flying. Sakura Nami's art. Kakashi released the illusion for the first time, and was about to help Obito and Lin to release. At this time, Shisui and Asuma formed a seal. Great fireball, big breakthrough. The wildly raging flames rushed towards Obito and Lin who were in illusion. There is no hold back. Kakashi oozes cold sweat on his forehead, and when he falls from the top, the seal is completed instantly, and he pats the ground, and a wall of earth rises to block the flames. At this time, Lin and Obito woke up one after another. However, you are dead. A voice sounded from behind Lin and Obito. Asuma shadow clone, red, ... Kakashi lost. Watergate sighed. Although he is still alive, his teammates are dead. How easy is it to defeat the 3-person team? Unless there is a huge gap between him and Asuma. But, obviously not realistic. High speed. Useless. Asuma and the others were unhappy, but they weren't slow either. The 3 of them held together to resist. With the 3-body technique and Yugi's strong perception, Kakashi was always in a passive state. The 3 of them are all elites. Although Kakashi is powerful, as long as Asuma and the others don't want to kill Kakashi, there will be no problem. Hyunsu said lightly. If the 3 are separated, they will definitely be defeated by Kakashi one by one, but it is not difficult to stand together to defend an elite Chunin. The current Kakashi is only fast. Shisui's strength and chakra are not as good as the others, but his speed is almost on par with Kakashi. Although he is invincible, with Asuma and Yukika, Kakashi can only constantly consume Shisui's strength. The next moment, Kakashi's knife flashed with electricity. Exploded. Jing Yi saw Kakashi kill Shisui. Under the ground, the shadow clone dived over. Final hit. Senior White Fang swordsmanship. It's not like. As it stands, Kakashi is going to lose. Hyunsu shook his head. Watergate doesn't think so. Kakashi's strength is still there. If he can defeat Shisui, the remaining 2 can slowly kill and kill. So, the key is this blow. However, the next moment, he knew where Jing Yi's confidence came from. Kakashi's knife was blocked by Asuma. Asuma was seriously injured. His arm was cut open, and the blood flowed like a stream, but Kakashi's thunder chakra was offset by his wind chakra, and at the same time, Zishui and Hong killed Kakashi's body and Kakashi respectively. Avatar. The end is set. Stop it, Kakashi. Yes. Minato opened his mouth, and Kakashi knew that the defeat was set, so he put down the knife in despair. He was unwilling. Asuma stops the water and blocks the knife, otherwise this knife can directly kill the water. Not reconciled. Squad battles are never one-on-one. What's the use of being strong yourself? Unless you are strong enough to be like me and Minato-senpai, don't talk nonsense. Jing Yi is not giving himself money. Minato has Flying Thunder God, and as long as he can break the defense, he is almost invincible, but he is not bad. With the Earth Spear and various techniques, as long as he does not encounter the few in Union Village, he is basically not afraid. Abuse of vegetables is even more invincible. What about Kakashi? Crispy 1. Now that I don't write Relay Chakra, it's enough, but it's only enough. It's incomparable with my own 1000-hand blood. Why do you think you can pick 3? Kakashi didn't look good, but he knew what Jing Yi said was the truth, and the current situation is that they lost to Asuma and the others, and they lost very badly. Lin, your problem lies in taijutsu. You are a medical ninja, but taijutsu cannot be left behind. Master Tsunade, one of the 3 ninjas, is also a medical ninja, but her strength is also very terrifying. It's really not good. You can think about chakra surgery. Knife. Kyoichi looked at Nohara Rin. The girl was hit hard, and she admitted that she was not bad, but she didn't play any role in the face of the trio. Hearing the teacher's words, she was stunned for a moment, then thought for a moment, and said in surprise, Teacher, do you mean to hurt the enemy with a chakra scalpel? Severing ligaments, muscles, blood vessels, and restricting the opponent's movement is enough, isn't it? Hyunsu nodded. Nohara Lin was stunned for a long time. She didn't know how to use a chakra scalpel, but she had heard of it a little bit. If it wasn't for Jing Yi, she would never have imagined that this technique would still have the function of hurting the enemy. After thinking about it carefully, I can't find anything wrong. Who said that chakra scalpels can't hurt people? Teacher, what about me? In a hurry to bring soil. Lin has suggestions. What should I do? You, work hard and gain experience. You have a problem with your brain. Chapter 33. Look, he has to thank me. Teacher, how can this be? I'm not weak. Obito grimaced. It's true that he was stunned, but this was because Hong Yuhi hid in the clone to sneak attack, and cooperated with Asuma's shadow clone to kill him. If confronted head-on, he was not weak. Think about my words for yourself. Kyoichi walked to Asuma's side. After the seal is formed, the chakra condenses and turns into a ball of green light. Lin was surprised. Teacher, so you really know medical ninjutsu, or palm immortality? How can it be fake? Jing glanced at her. Make a fuss. Thanks to the help of the system, I can't do anything else, but ninjutsu can be said to be a little proficient in every field. Minato admired more and more, and Kakashi bit his lip bleeding. This guy, knowing so many fields of art, but still able to practice taijutsu and ninjutsu to such a level, how did he practice it? Am I really weak? Kakashi was a little unwilling. He has always been hailed as a genius. He grew up in the exclamations of other people since he was a child, and he never felt that he was not talented enough. But, after meeting Kyoichi, Kakashi felt more and more useless. Are you good at taijutsu, swordsmanship, and ninjutsu? But, he is not one of the best, and he cannot even break through the defensive net of Shisui and the three of them. He needs to rely on his unskilled ninja skills to break through. At this time, he couldn't help but think of his father, Hatake Tsukumo. The Hatake family used to be samurai, and swordsmanship was passed down from that time, until Tsukumo cooperated with chakra and taijutsu to form his own style, and became famous in the ninja world since then. Maybe my father's swordsmanship is right, Kakashi flashed a thought. Before, he fell into the extreme thinking of completely denying his father, but now he began to accept the reality. His father's swordsmanship is indeed powerful, much better than what he thought. Kakashi, I was looking forward to you all, but you have disappointed me too much. I watched the battle just now, and I even thought that you were not worthy of being a ninja. You should go back to the ninja school and study hard like them. Namikaze Minato said sternly. Kakashi refused to accept it, but was unable to refute it. Because he lost, the task is not completed, everything is an excuse. Asuma scratched the healed wound, looked up at the teacher, and hesitated. He is very clear, Kakashi stayed. If it wasn't for learning from each other, Kakashi would definitely have the ability to kill him before. Certainly, the other party will also die, but Kakashi is a chunin, and he is only a submissive, and it seems that there's nothing to brag about. Don't be angry at Minato Jonin, it's too much to let chunin go back to school, or they'll be demoted, just to give them another chance to take the exam. Jingyi sang red-faced beside him. Is he worthy of being a ninja? Coordinating teammates, combat power and arranging tactics is what chunin should do. What has he accomplished? What's the use of a high mission completion rate? Who would want to be his teammate now? Namikaze Minato scolded sharply. Actually, these words were not his original intention, but when the two teams were fighting just now, Jingyi talked to him about them, hoping to stimulate Kakashi's heart and let him see through the knot. Naturally, Minato Namikaze couldn't refuse. Kyoichi's selfless help was already extremely kind. After all, Kyoichi has nothing to do with Kakashi or Tsukumo. Willing to help, all for Konoha. Kakashi is a genius after all. If they can understand the painstaking efforts of them and Hatake Tsukumo, Konoha may soon be able to add a highly talented joinin. Certainly, all this is Watergate's brain supplement. The idea on Jingyi's side is very simple. Kakashi is a tendon, and it is not so easy to twist it. This wave just heats the bar a little to prepare for the future. After all, if Kakashi wants to develop in the direction of swordsmanship, whether Minato or Jiraiya is not a master of swordsmanship, he still has to find himself. It is not easy to scour wool, and fat sheep must be cultivated from an early age. And Kakashi, how could he think so much? At this moment, only his own failures and Minato's scolding were in his mind. Hey, Kakashi used to be on the same team with me, and the battlefield mission has always been on the front line. Give him a chance for my sake. Kyoichi sighed and interceded for Kakashi again. Real, Namikaze Minato was surprised. This time, it's not pretending. Kandakeichi used to be on the same team with Kakashi. That's why Kakashi is also at a loss. The temporary chunin team formed by the mission, Minato-senpai, give him another chance. Okay, since Kyoichi mentioned this, Kakashi, if you give up your chunin position, I will give the three of you a chance, or leave with your chunin position, and my team no longer needs you. Namikaze Minato said sternly. Ji-Shui looked at the two teachers. His face was rather strange. This said of. Too familiar. Just like the teacher who fooled him before. Ji-Shui heard Jingyi's loud conspiracy with Minato in person before. Why didn't he know what was going on? What has been packaged? Packaged for you to stay. It's all bait. Whoever believes it is a fool. Are the geniuses of the Hatake clan a fool? He looked at Kakashi curiously. At this time, Kakashi was in a tangled mood. He was very angry and gave up the title of chunin. Why? This is in exchange for his own battlefield mission. But, Kakashi was not reconciled to letting him leave. He is not afraid of losing, but losing to a team like Ji-Shui, he couldn't accept it. In just a moment, he had a decision. Test. Very good, I'll give you a chance, Jinjiki Shengnan, this is my bottom line, thank you very much this time, I will take another exam tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll be there when the time comes. Kyungsu agreed, but, he wasn't worried, and he didn't plan to really go either, just send a shadow clone to go. Kakashi is not stupid, it's normal to lose to Minato today. They lost to Ji-Shui because this guy underestimated Ji-Shui, Asuma and Hong, and also looked too high on his own strength. In the battle tomorrow, he will not be so rough again. Thanks, Kakashi bowed solemnly, he didn't remember very well, but he had a vague impression that he really had a team with Jing. At that time, it seemed like a year or two ago, Jingyi was only promoted to chunin. It's only been a year or two, and the other party has already gone to forbearance. No, you used to be a genius I admired. I don't want you to be abolished. Minato Yorin, we won't disturb your class training. Kyoichi, thank you very much. Namikaze Minato said solemnly, if it wasn't for Jinjiki, he really couldn't handle this kind of thing. The effect is still unclear, but, Kakashi is obviously not as thorny as before. You know, before even 3 generations had no way to take him, otherwise you wouldn't have to send him to the Watergate class to be a ninja. Still Kyungsu was awesome, he was grateful and admired at this time. Jingyi left with 3 disciples with strange expressions. Lin vaguely felt that the expressions of Hong Yuhi and the others were not right, but she didn't think about it. As Minato continued to reprimand and educate her, she did not continue to think about the expression of Hong Yuhi. Chapter 34, 996. Back to the village. Teacher, did you talk to Mizuno-sama just now? Hong Yuhi couldn't hold back and wanted to ask about the situation just now. Haha, act in a play, or that kid Kakashi. Kyungsu shook his head and sighed. Asuma thought for a while, then nodded slightly in agreement. Really, Kakashi's stuff, it's hard to deal with. If he is Uchiha Obito, and Kakashi is on the same team, there is no way to cooperate with him. So weird, Shisui remained silent. After a few steps, he asked, did the teacher really team up with Kakashi before? Well, a year and a half ago, not long after I was promoted to chunin, I received a mission and temporarily formed a team with him. 2 teammates died during that mission. Why is that? Shisui was surprised. Mission fatality so high. Jingyi shook his head and didn't elaborate. Yuhi Hong explained in a low voice, Kakashi has gone through some things, and he feels that the ninja's mission is to complete the task, so he will do it for the task. I see. After Shisui heard it, he was stunned for a few seconds, and then quickly understood. White Fang's suicide. He was only 1 year old that year, and he didn't know what was going on at all. This matter was brought up when he grew up and heard from the 3rd generation of the tribe. Okay, regardless of the 7th shift, starting tomorrow, our first shift will start the mission. Remember to gather in the building in the morning. Disband. Brush tasks early to earn money early. Being a ninja is not easy, and you are short of money for everything, especially chakra weapons. Although Jingyi has the Thor sword, this thing is not suitable for Igai. So, it's better to save some money. Does it start tomorrow? Asuma was puzzled. It's not that fast, is it? The teacher should hope that we can rush the number of tasks earlier, and accept the tasks above C rank as soon as possible. Shisui guessed. It's possible, Sai, the war has been going on in recent years, and the teacher is really worried about us. We must work hard to cultivate and live up to the teacher's expectations. I have decided to start running and exercising every day tomorrow to train my physical skills. Kurenai Yugi clenched her fists and cheered. Even if he couldn't become a strong physique like Tsunade-sama, at least he wouldn't be able to hold back Asuma and Shisui, and he couldn't be a breakthrough due to poor physique like Lin. On the teacher's side, I should specialize in swordsmanship. Shisui pondered for a moment. Originally, he still had to struggle, but when he saw Kakashi's ninja skills just now, he felt that there was no need to hesitate. Ninjutsu. Jing Yi will not escape. Ji Shuineng majored in either physique or swordsmanship. Obviously, swordsmanship is his best direction, and ninja swordsmanship, fantasy swordsmanship, maybe it is more suitable for you. You choose swordsmanship, then I'll focus on physique. Asuma smiled, mainly in taijutsu, minor in ninjutsu. As for swordsmanship, this is not his strength, he prefers short swords. I'm not good at melee combat, and I'm just a minor in taijutsu, but I'm reminded by word from my teacher today that illusion and medical ninjutsu have extremely high requirements for chakra control, and they may be able to draw parallels. Red Yugi had an idea. The teacher knows medical ninjutsu, majoring in illusion, and minoring in taijutsu and medical ninjutsu. Seems to work. ... The next day, at the Hokage building, when Jing Yi arrived, the three children had already arrived. At Namikaze Minato, he sent a shadow clone over there. Let's go ahead and pick up the task, Kyungsu yawned. When he went back yesterday, he took a special look at the system panel, but only made a profit. But, after thinking about it, this trip took a lot of time, but I am afraid that there are not many people who really pointed out the effect. Kakashi's tendon is not so easy to twist over, and Obito. Forget it, that silly boy, unless he kills Lin and turns him into a black man, he won't be able to turn his head around, let him figure it out on his own, and the rate of return for teaching him is too low. So, Jing Yi woke up this morning, thinking about everything, but for now, managing his subordinates is the top priority. After entering the hall, Chunin, who was in charge of distributing tasks, was surprised. Sir, who are you? The first class, which was just established yesterday, sent us AD level task. There should be a lot of backlogs for no one to do it recently. 3 tasks. I was just divided into classes yesterday, and there is a class to pick up the task today. And, take 3 missions in one go. He was stunned, whether this was exercise or real money. Can't you? Seeing that he didn't move for a long time, Kanda Jing couldn't help but ask. It's not impossible, but the D-level tasks are mainly. Okay, since it is requested by Master Jing, then I will assign these 3 tasks to your team. After sending out the task, Jing Yi nodded and thanked him. After leaving the door, Yuri Hong asked, Teacher, have you taken over 3 tasks? Yes, have you thought about the major direction I mentioned yesterday? Think about it. The 3 of Shisui began to talk about their majors. After Jing Yi heard this, he nodded lightly, very pleased. Just as he thought, fortunately, his disciples are not the kind of Kakashi and Obito, otherwise they would be so angry that they would die of anger, and I would like to slap them to death, let alone teach them. He picked up 3 task cards and said, it's just right, you two do it separately, stop the water and chop wood, Asuma goes to help fetch the water, and Yuhika you go to catch the cat. What? The 3 were dumbfounded, act separately. This is not the same as before. Didn't they all act together before? What? Is there a problem? Teacher, aren't they usually together? Let you do tasks together is to exercise team tacit understanding. You will all intentionally cooperate with your teammates. When choosing a major, you also consider teamwork yourself. There is no need for such D-level tasks to cultivate tacit understanding. It is better to treat it as a practice. Kyungsu said with a smile. Complete the task and leave the team to get a share. 996 work is a blessing, and it is a waste for 3 people to do one task. Understood. Shishui's eyes lit up. Chopping wood to exercise swordsmanship, carrying water to exercise physical fitness, catching cats to exercise speed. The division of labor of teachers has its own reason. I don't have much to say if I understand. Go and complete the task. Shisui and Asuma, your tasks are not difficult. The only problem is Hong. I will follow Hong. If it really doesn't work, I will help. His teacher. The 3 of them are not stupid, and they all understand the reason for the division of labor in Beijing. Yuhi erythropoiesis is the worst, but she majored in illusion, and the requirements for physical skills were nothing more than speed, reflexes and physical strength. Cats are the most agile, enemies, in D-class missions. Let's start. Yes, the 3 dispersed. Kyoichi unhurriedly followed Kurenai Yugi. He was thinking about whether to learn from the future Kakashi and buy some entertainment products to take a look, otherwise it would be really boring to follow these children all the time. But, at this moment, Jiraiya is still on the front line, and his debut novel, The Legend of Perseverance and Endurance, has not come out. Pity. The task of catching the cat has to leave the village, so Jing Yi is required to follow, but the D-level task will not be too far away from Konoha, and it will arrive soon. Hong Yuhi is not fast, but not without advantages. She has strong perception and understands illusion. As long as it is used reasonably, it is not difficult for one person to catch a cat. Chapter 35 Uchiha's future is in me. Meow. Cats meow intermittently. Hong Yuhi has a strong perception and can quickly see the location of the cat, but in the jungle, all kinds of trees, flowers and plants block her, so she can't get up fast. Sometimes it seemed to catch up, but the cat burrowed into the bushes and disappeared in a blink of an eye. The speed is enough, the utilization rate is too poor. Kyungsu shook his head. Fine, practice slowly, run a few times first, let Yuhika understand her flaws, and then open her mouth and give pointers for better results. He was in the tree, pondering about swordsmanship. Yesterday, he used Lu Jianshu on a person for the first time, and he became more and more convinced that Lu could try to integrate into Ai Zan. You don't need that long illusion control at all. In just a moment, the enemy can be killed. Self-creation is not something that can be accomplished overnight. After all, it is not distributed systematically. Jing Yi is only a little confused now. If he wants to integrate further, he needs to add more knowledge. Teacher, can you let me rest for a while? Kurenai Yuhi was panting. She was really exhausted. At this time, the hair and clothes were covered with dust and leaves, and she was not at all calm. But, the cat still couldn't catch up. Even, she felt that the other party seemed to be getting faster, and she was catching up before, but now it is getting harder and harder. Take a break. I'll tell you something by the way. Do you know where your problem is? Okay, Yuhi Red nodded. Poor physical strength and slow speed. Actually, you can catch up with the speed. The big deal is to add the teleportation technique, but you are not flexible enough to control your own speed. Jing Yi said. Secondly, what about your illusion? You don't major in physique, so why don't you try to control it with illusion? Ah, can I still use illusion? Sunset was stunned. She thought she understood, but she didn't. Illusion. Yes, I don't rely on physical skills. Why did I catch up without illusion skills? She was instantly enlightened. Certainly, Hong Yuhi knew very well that even using illusions, it would not be easy to catch the silly cat. Casting illusion to seal, the cat is very flexible, and he is still making seals, and the other party runs away if he is not sure. You have to look it up and come up with tactics based on the environment. She is not stupid. Soon, Yuhi Red's eyes lit up. Teacher, I understand, let's go and catch it. Naruto office. Can catching a cat be considered a practice? The shredded tobacco in the hands of the third generation was about to burn out, but he did not notice it at all, and his face was full of astonishment. Most of these cats are noble pets. The speed is not fast, there is no difficulty, and it can be done quickly, so they are distributed more as preparatory training for team battles. However, Kyoichi was ingenious and sent it to Yuhika to train her speed and on-the-spot reaction. This is something the three generations never thought about. After he was surprised, he felt very reasonable. The other two, chopping wood and carrying water. The three generations first looked at their son. Asuma is fetching water, 2 large buckets at a time, carried by a burden, ran from the far river to the water tank. Spilled, pick again. Is this gymnastics? He used the telescope technique again, and took a look at the ice stop water. Stop water is chopping wood. The difference is, he used all the techniques of swordsmanship in chopping firewood, and seemed to be pondering how to split the firewood with the least consumption. This kid, is there too much weirdness? The third generation took a puff of cigarettes, only to find that the shredded tobacco had ignited spontaneously, and his heart ached suddenly. He didn't take a puff. What a waste. After the heartache, Sarutobi Hijian's thoughts turned back and began to wonder whether it could be promoted. It doesn't seem to work. Every class is different and cannot be generalized. The most important is, he found that many people in Konoha were rigid in their minds, including himself. Chopping wood, carrying water, and catching cats. They did CD-level tasks as an opportunity to exercise their chin-nin, and some tasks were even created by the village, but they never thought of deliberately tempering them, and more of them were team development. The method is a good method, but it cannot be promoted. It's not bad recently. He has accumulated a lot of tasks, and it's okay for him to take 3 in one go. If it's normal, a team picks up 3, what about the others? But, allows elite squads to try to imitate, Sarutobi Hizen thought to himself. At the same time, he locked the telescope technique on Shisui. Uchiha Shisui, is it possible to become the second Uchiha mirror? Hopefully, otherwise, he sighed and cancelled the operation. Afternoon, close to evening, Hong Yuhi finally caught the cat tiredly, went to return the task, and got today's reward. Back to Konoha, in the barbecue restaurant, Jingyi and the others met the 7th class who passed the customs today. Shisui, Asuma, Obito waved wildly when he saw them, as if he was the one who invited the guests to dinner this time. Namikaze Minato was on the side, smiling, and seeing Jingyi was very enthusiastic. Seeing that the seat was vacant, he pointed to the vacant seat and said, Jingyi-kun, why don't you sit down and eat together? Alright, let's order some more. Kyungsu didn't refuse. They don't eat bastards when they have food. These 3 little brats use military ration pills to feed their hunger at noon, and now they are afraid they are starving. Kakashi turned his head away, looking indifferent. But, his eyes, however, seemed to be staring at Jingyi's sword. Namikaze Minato feels funny. Kakashi is usually very calm, unlike Obito and his peers, but when he met Kakashi, he did not have the calm and mature attitude he had before. He knew that Kakashi was curious, and after glancing at it, he was also a little surprised. Jingyi-kun, is your sword the 2nd generation Lord's sword? I borrowed it temporarily from Hokage-sama, alas, who made me poor. Kyungsu sighed. He was as rich as the Sarutobi clan, and he made a chakra weapon directly like Asuma. Where do you need to borrow weapons to survive? At first, the genin people didn't know which one it was, but after thinking about it, they all had some impressions. The sword of Thor. Okay, Jingyi pulled out the thunder sword. The body of the sword is slender and the blade is thin. If it was an ordinary slash, this sword would not be able to hold it for a few times, and it would easily disintegrate. Just like the White Fang knife, it was a chakra weapon and needed to be used in conjunction with chakra. Shisui has a deep research on swordsmanship, and he also knows a lot about the Thunder God sword. He quickly thinks of the situation of the test that day. The teacher is totally useless. Just the teacher is so powerful, not to mention Konoha. Those people in the clan are guarding the guards behind closed doors, and they are getting arrogant, which is extremely stupid. There was only one thought in Shisui's mind. The idea of the tribe. He has recently understood a little bit, and all he wants is power and fame. He believes that Uchiha is one of the founders of the village and has the right to share the glory and victory. But, times have changed. Not to mention teacher Jingyi, it is this Namikaze Minato. How many people in the clan can match him? The more he observed, the more grateful he was for his choice. Relying on those people, Uchiha will end sooner or later. Perhaps the future of the family depends on himself and Obito. Chapter 36. Improved activation technique. Jing glanced at Shisui and Obito. These two are really different. Obito is carefree at the moment. He doesn't think much of it at all. He just needs to eat and play. He is carefree, and his disposition is quite kind. Just no brains, contrary to the water stop. The brain also lacks a muscle, but after meeting him, it seems that the muscle is on the opposite side, so it's not that stupid. Now it looks like something came to mind. Jingyi thinks so, and the reason is very simple. Open black lens bracket. You guided Uchiha Shisui's thinking and changed the direction of his life. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket evaluation. Good close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket reward. Magic steam tower close black lens bracket. This is the first time that an inexplicable evaluation has appeared. It should be that Zishui has some insight. Jingyi is very curious. What was Zishui thinking just now? However, the rewards are pretty good. Steam loft. Is this the technique of the 2nd generation water shadow psychic beast? Can you learn this? Jingyi was a little surprised. The principle and knowledge of this technique appeared in his mind, and his face was a little strange. This technique, what to say, it is a semi-finished product. Create a mirage with dense fog to achieve the purpose of illusion. The issue is, Jingyi still doesn't know the fog-like illusion. It seems that I have to find a way to get the fog hidden technique. Jingyi thought about it secretly. If you can get the hidden technique, this technique can make your hidden ability to a higher level, especially when facing hidden Korean ninjas. Anyway, it's nothing to dislike, and maybe it can be merged with your own swordsmanship. Phantom swordsmanship, Kyungsu kept pondering in his mind. Namikaze Minato saw something and couldn't help but admire it. No wonder Kanda Kyo became a chunin at the age of 13, and he was promoted to jonin in just over a year. This attitude of thinking all the time was enough for him to accumulate a lot of things in the past. Now everything is accumulated. He has his own way and leads the way, but the other party has no good teachers. Kakashi, wait, you bastard, I will definitely be able to beat you when I open a riding wheel. Oh, the tail of the crane. Obito, there is no absolute genius in the world. As long as you work hard enough, think more, and practice more, you will have a chance to surpass Kakashi even if you don't rely on Sharingan. Namikaze Minato was impressed. The genius of hard work, Kyoichi is the best example. Naturally, Jinyi didn't know that he already had such a high evaluation in Minato Namikaze, and he was still thinking about the combination of swordsmanship and schematic illusion. Think about it. It is not necessarily necessary to use the technique of hidden mist. Perhaps the evaporation of water vapor from ninjutsu can also form a certain mirage, but it is not so stable. But he is mainly swordsman. The speed is fast to a certain extent. As long as the other party misjudges for a moment, it is enough to kill. Unless it's a hang-up like Shinwei, and this is misleading vision, not a conventional illusion, and perhaps the Sharingan may not be able to see through it. There is research value. After the meal, under the insistence of Namaifung Minato, Jinyi failed to pay. He didn't care. It was just a meal, and there was no charge for helping him teach his disciples. This meal was justified. Each class passed the examination one after another. Therefore, the number of teams receiving tasks naturally increased, and Jinyi took 3 tasks. Still the old rules. The difference is that this time, the chopping wood was replaced by Asuma, while Shisui went to fetch water. There's a reason to switch to Asuma. You should have mastered the changes in the nature of wind escape, right? Yes, teacher. Well, you use Feng Dun chakra to cooperate, use Ku to chop wood, and when you can master it, I will teach you a ninjutsu. Quote. Jinyi wants to teach him the vacuum blade. This technique has AB level difficulty and is quite powerful. Now that Asuma's chakra weapon has not been made, his combat style is still confused. This technique can cooperate with his future fate in battles. Today, you don't need to pay too much attention to Uchiha. The cat she caught is nearby, so Jinyi continued to exercise and hone his physical skills, while the shadow clone was near Shisui, observing and practicing swords. During this time, he met several acquaintances, such as the Matekai squad, the 7th shift, and even Mayday. Unlike Matt K and the others, Mad Dai has been old in forbearance for many years. He is too old to form a team with others. He has been exercising and doing tasks by himself for so many years, and it is naturally the same today. But, the difference is that today's Mayday seems a little disappointed. Senior Dai, what are you sighing for? Hyunsu sits on a branch. It stands to reason that Mad Dai is about to be promoted recently, so he shouldn't be sighing all day long. Is it possible, worrying about being promoted? Kyoichi-kun, it's hard to say anything. Maddie sighed. Jin came to him in an instant, and only after a chat did he know that the 3 generations had a heart-to-heart with him yesterday, and talked about the Bamindunjia. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not ask him to hand over the forbidden technique, but instead expressed that he would be promoted to a special junin in taijutsu. This is a good thing, but Mayday has been working in the lower end for 20 years, and has long been accustomed to the lower life. So, although he became a special jonin, he still took on AD level quest, carrying water. Special junin is different from junin. Special junin means that you have a special talent in a certain area. There is no requirement for leading a team or special tasks, so you can live a normal life. Keiichi said, Jonin requires all aspects of ability, like Naruto, without a certain level of knowledge, even with shadow level strength, there is no way to become a Jonin. In particular, the requirements for Junin are lower. Maddie was stunned after hearing this, and said, however, as a special Jonin, I am doing AD level mission. What's the matter, do you care? Hyunsu was surprised. Even the Genin for more than 20 years has been indifferent, and he still cares about continuing to do D-level tasks after becoming a special Junin. It seems to be the case. Maddie agrees with it, but feels that something is not right. He scratched his head and said, I don't know how to say it. By the way, I changed your 7-day call method according to my own thoughts. I don't know if it's right or not. I wanted to ask you for help, but I forgot it recently. Oh, let's try. Jinyi's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly motioned for Maddie to try it for himself. I don't have to. After speaking, Maddie kicked over. Great strength. Jinyi blocked it with his hand. Although he used chakra to offset some of it, it still hurt slightly. Next, after Maddie finished speaking, he quickly kicked again. The speed and strength are much greater. Before he could touch it, Jinyi knew something was wrong, and quickly used the earth spear to strengthen his arm. Bang! A muffled sound. Under the tremendous force, Jinyi retreated a few steps. This, Hyunsu was surprised. After thinking about it for a few seconds, he said, you try again. It is good. Matt Day took a deep breath and kicked him. Jinyi blocked it, but he was still very strong, but this time he was ready to grab Matt's ankle. At this time, the other kick turned around and kicked him in the head. It does work, but are you close to opening the door? I used my improved activity after surgery and found that my door would be opened involuntarily, allowing me to further improve my control over my body. Maddie nodded. He doesn't understand too many theories, he relies on his own exploration, and he doesn't know whether it is good or not to make such a version. Chapter 37 C-level mission, Baiyun Town. I understand, the senior study of the 8 gates of Dunjia is also an unintentional creation, so you also rely on your instinct to improve the activation technique, and you have opened the door many times, and the chakra lock will be loose. The 8 doors are human chakra locks. The more he practiced the 8 doors Dunjia, the less side effects he had. At the level of Mad Dai, he could easily open up to 6 doors, but he didn't master or exercise much. So, his body is so strong that he will unconsciously open some of the chakra locks. It's not fully open, but it also has some characteristics. This is something no one else can learn. At least Jinyi is difficult to grasp, because he can only open up to 3 of the 8 doors, and he can't even open the gate of life directly, let alone rush to open the door unintentionally. Besides, Jinyi chakra is extremely controlling, and there is no such thing at all. So, good or bad, Maddie didn't understand. It's very suitable for you and Kai, ordinary Junin can't learn it. Jinyi did not veto it. He can do this kind of improvement, but it's not very good. This level of activation art is still too demanding on physical fitness, and many Shengen can't learn it. But, if you want to study weaker breathing techniques, you probably need to have a deep understanding of cells and medicine, but at present, Jing has only a little understanding of medical ninjutsu and cells. Too bad Tsunade is not in Konoha. Jinyi thought about it for a while and said, maybe you can think that way too. Senior, you can suppress the activation technique to the extent that it will not affect the opening of the door. Maybe it will be fine. Can it still be like this? Maddie was stunned for a moment. Makes sense. It seems so simple, I didn't think of it myself. He got excited, clenched his fist and shouted, very good, burn my youth. After shouting, Maddie slipped away. Jinyi's mouth twitched, not knowing what to say for a while. Really, like father, like son. But, Mad Day's activation technique is also very interesting, automatically opening a part of the door. Opening the door is a brain domain limitation. Open the 8 doors, you can play 100% of the body's ability, improve speed and strength. The cost and side effects of opening part will be slightly lower, but with the activation technique, it can use the power of almost full opening more routinely, and it will be very effective sometimes. You can try to practice. In the past few days, the main body has been practicing physique, and I will strive for 6 doors as soon as possible. As for the 7-day call, when I find Tsunade in the future, I will learn more medical ninjutsu. The next step is to focus on training. The team has just been established, and everyone is honing and directing their subordinates. Jingyi still adheres to the speed of 3 tasks a day, but every day he will change someone to give instructions. Red Yuhi, Asuma and Shisui take turns. Asuma and Shisui are simple. One teaches Fangdun, the other teaches swordsmanship. But the sunset is red. I can only have 2 illusions myself, and it is a type that Yuhika is unlikely to master. Medical ninjutsu only has 1 palm immortality, and medical ninjutsu requires a lot of knowledge accumulation, not overnight. So, at present, it seems that the only thing that can be taught to her is the art of instant body. The improved version, but Hong Yuhi was willing to learn and work hard, and that was enough. And, there is a reward for teaching every day. After more than 10 days, although the powerful ninjutsu has not been obtained, but the less important ninjutsu has learned a few, such as the big breakthrough in the art of narration. What surprised Jingyi the most was his swordsmanship proficiency. Although not much, at least it saves him several months of self-cultivation. But, Master Jing, the 3rd generation of adults said that the D-level tasks accumulated before have been emptied, and now the amount is not much, there is really no way to give you 3. Quote. Really gone, there is only 1, take it if you want. Shunin, who issued the task, was bitten to death and refused to let go. The task is there, but not many. Now a bunch of shonen are returning to the village. After 10 days of crazy cleaning, how can there still be so many tasks? Teacher, otherwise take 1, Hong Yuhi advised. Genin teams are generally only able to take 1 quest, and it is not easy to be able to go to 3D level quests all the time these days. Jingyi browsed the task list. After training for more than 10 days, the 3 of Yuhika have grown a lot, and there is not much room for improvement in D-level tasks. Since they can only take 1. Teramoto-kun, in that case, I've accepted this C-level mission. Kyoichi pointed to the task list. Assist with road repairs. Certainly, unlike the Naruto bridge in the Land of Waves, these road construction tasks were all caused by war damage. Now that the war is over, I just paid to help repair and restore the business road. Mainly because he was afraid of road robbers. C-level mission, this involves. How dare Teramoto give it? But, okay, Jingyi directly slapped the Thor sword on the table, causing him to tremble all over. Nima, can't stand it. He stayed for a few seconds, but still mustered up the courage to continue. The rookie team can't take tasks above C rank. It's okay, we're strong enough, and the rules are peaceful times. Now the rules for graduating at the age of 12 are gone. Why do you care about these? Give them quickly. Kyungsu was speechless. It's been less than a month since the peace, and the old rules have moved out again. I didn't see you caring about this when you graduated. This, cough, give it to him, but Jingyi, there is still some confusion outside, you have to pay attention. Well, give him this task. 3 generations appeared. He pointed to one of the tasks, to help restore Baiyun Town. Baiyun Town. Jingyi has some impressions that in the western part of the Fire Country, although it is not a battlefield, it is closer to the Kikyo mountain area. Okay, thank you Hokage-sama. Jingyi took the task, but he was wondering what the 3 generations had in mind. He agreed to give him a C-level mission, but he felt that there was no problem. Wartime is different from peacetime after all, although it is a short-lived peace now, who knows when the war will resume. Konoha is too weak now, but 3 generations actually assigned a task. Weird, but he didn't say much. After receiving the task, Asuma and Yuhika showed smiles on their faces. On the other hand, Shisui, Uchiha has a guard team, and can usually leave Konoha to patrol around, and he doesn't have much feelings about going out of the village to do tasks. Pay attention to safety, you can walk around in Baiyun Town and inspect the 4 directions. 3 generations seem to be referring. Jingyi waved his hand, took the voucher for leaving the village, and then walked out. After leaving the village, don't forget to exercise on the way. Do you still remember the tips of body and instant body techniques I said earlier? Remember, the 3 answered at the same time. The next moment, Jing rushed on his way, and the other 3 quickly followed. Now, not long after the war, the country of fire is relatively safe. There are no robbers and robbers on the road, so there is no need to worry about safety. Again, Jingyi is fast, and uses chakra perception to probe the quartet after a while, and is not afraid of someone secretly attacking. He wished that someone was courting death, so as to exercise the coping ability of Zishui's 3 people. Sadly, no, but Baiyun Town must be weird. Chapter 38 Wandering Warrior, Battle 1. Northwest of the Fire Nation, it is close to the Kingdom of Chuan, the Kingdom of Rain, and Mount Kikyo, which is a very chaotic area, but at the same time, it is an important trade route leading to several countries in the northwest. Because of this, it is very prosperous here. This is Baiyun Town. Asuma looked around, observing the strange town. Yes, I came here a few months ago. At that time, a group of ninjas from Sandian village attacked here and we were repelled. Jing nodded. After the war, the side began to recover gradually, and many trade routes began to be rebuilt. But, due to its proximity to the Land of Rain and the Land of Rivers, there are often robbers and wandering ninjas here, and there was no need to worry about the ninja army of Konoha before. But now that the army has withdrawn, there are no ninjas around, and only a few are patrolling the border. These robbers have begun to disrupt and loot again, and the mayor has no choice but to issue tasks. Jingyi leaned against the wall and secretly used chakra perception. Found it. In the direction of the river country, there is indeed a group of thieves composed of wandering warriors, and these wandering warriors are very courageous, and they are still wandering around after a few robberies. From the looks of it, it seems to be still looting. Teacher, what are we going to do now? Yuhihong looked around. There are many people building streets around, and the damaged roads are slowly being repaired. After a month, in fact, most places have been repaired. She sensed that there were no enemies around for a while, and she didn't know what to do. Don't worry, look around and survey the terrain. Kyoichi said, if it's just his mission, just kill him and cut melons and vegetables, but if he leads the team. He glanced at the 3 children. After thinking for a while, Jingyi said, sea-level missions and above, there is a possibility of encountering battles. You must always be prepared to fight and kill the enemy. In addition, if you are given command, what will you do? Look at the terrain first, set up traps, and prepare for defense. Asuma answered without hesitation. This is what is in the book. No problem, but, which way is the trap going? This, Asuma hesitated, unable to think of an answer for the first time. This is inexperience. Shisui pondered for a moment and said, in the west, there is no ninja village in the country of rivers. There are many wandering samurai and wandering ninjas. These people are easy to gather into bandits. Generally, patrols will focus on this direction. Yes, your guards teach a lot of things in advance. Kyungsu sighed. Uchiha is arrogant, but he is indeed very powerful. Unfortunately, there are too many hawks in the clan, especially after the Night of the Nine Tails. Even Fuyu is difficult to suppress. He looked at the 3 of them and said, you go to the west to investigate and set up traps. If you encounter an enemy, you can decide for yourself whether to take action or not. Remember what I taught, generally it's not a big problem. Yes, the 3 took the lead. Jingyi followed in secret, and at the same time separated a shadow clone and went to the place where those people built walls and streets. If Baiyun Town is restored, it is not enough to fight off the bandits. The rice bowl of ninja is not so easy. The 3 of Zishui were slowly patrolling and investigating, while Jingyi took out a book and read it. Cell theory book. He borrowed it from the third generation and took it out to read in his spare time. The basic medical knowledge with systematic rewards is not difficult to read. Recently, he has some eyebrows in the activation technique. The skin actually has a certain ability to breathe, but the amount of oxygen absorbed is very small, which is not enough to supply what he needs. But what if it enhances cell activity? After the activity is enhanced, can it be breathed through the skin to increase the absorption efficiency and systemic activation strength? Under the experiment, it does work. The higher the level of the 7-day breath, the stronger the skin breathing effect. Although he has not reached the level of the 4th activity for the time being, he feels that the direction should be right. In addition, to explore the lower limit, first activate the skin activity and then slowly activate the blood and muscles. In this way, the better version of the active technique may become. The theory is so, but it is not so simple to implement, and there is a problem of incomplete activity, so Jingyi has been studying and pondering recently. Certainly, in-depth study of cells, in the future, can be used in column cells, body jutsu, medical ninjutsu, etc. A great deal. After a long time, Jingyi put down the book and looked towards Yugihong. Found. The enemy is still 2 or 3 kilometers away from Yukika, but Yukika was gesturing just now, and Kunai and Shuriken were also in his hands. Hyunsu is not too worried. In the past 10 days, Hong Yuhi has become very proficient in the instant body technique. Asuma has mastered the vacuum blade. Although Shisui has received the least guidance, the swordsmanship and instant body techniques have improved a lot. The 3 of them are strong enough, and it depends on whether the first killing will cause problems. The main body of Kyoichi is also to prevent accidents. The 3 of them converge and lean towards the group of wandering warriors, apparently finding each other. 3 kilometers. Looking back, you can consider teaching her chakra perception. I don't know if she can learn it. Chakra perception and Yukiko's perception are slightly different. Hong Yuhi's perception ability is related to her strong mental power when she learned illusion from a young age, so her perception is more accurate in a small range, while chakra perception is in a large range, and the accuracy in a small range is slightly inferior. Each has advantages and disadvantages. The distance between the 2 sides is getting closer and closer, and the bandits composed of wandering warriors gradually appear. A group of people are blood-stained and have bags around their waists. Obviously, they have robbed a lot of money, and may even have just killed people. Shisui and the others hid in the woods where the traps were arranged, and after a while, the explosion sounded. Waste. Hyunsu sighed. The price of these detonating charms is higher than the reward for completing sea-level tasks. It is only the 2nd generation of forbearance. How can ordinary civilians have so much money? But, the first time, it was normal. Be careful, there are ninjas. After the chaos, Zishui and the 3 made their move. Old tactics. Big fireball, big breakthrough. The flames swept through, making the originally chaotic wandering samurai camp even more chaotic. Yukika threw a shuriken looking at the position, directly killing 2 or 3 people. Flesh and blood were flying, and the stench was overflowing. The scene was shocking. Superior. Asuma reacted ahead of time, gritted her teeth, and spit out wind chakra from her mouth to the point of suffering. Vacuum blade. Then, he took the lead and rushed up with Kuwu. I use illusion to cover. Hong Yuhi was emotionally turbulent, but she quickly calmed down and landed the seal. It's 3 children. Kill them. When the wandering warrior saw that there were 3 children, he felt that he could do it again, and one by one regained their fighting spirit. However, the next moment, after the water stopped, the hare came first, and Asuma was the first to arrive at the battlefield. Clone, transform. Then, Shisui mixed into the opponent's battle group, and cooperated with the instant body technique and sword technique to continuously assassinate. Retreat. Hold a group, or all of them will die. The other party adjusted their positions, hugged each other back to back, and drew out their samurai swords. Red Yuhi's illusion is activated. At the same time, Asuma got close, and Kunai directly slashed at the opponent's vitals. With the blessing of the vacuum blade, this blow directly pierced the opponent's heart, and blood splattered his face. The next moment, 3 or 4 knives slashed at him. Nothing fancy, just hitting the key points. Asuma was stunned for a moment. Asuma, Kurenai Yuhi hurriedly threw the shuriken. Shisui shot and killed one of the opponents, but these stray warriors did not save their teammates at all. They were desperately injured and their teammates died. They were still determined to hack Asuma to death. They were murderous and very fierce. Fight. This is the battlefield. The opponent's knife slash is very fast, not paying attention to knife skills, that is, fast, accurate, and ruthless, with injury for injury. Asuma lost her way, seeing that I'm about to be slashed. Boom. The sword light slashed, and the samurai swords that slashed towards Asuma were all broken in 2. The next moment, blood splattered. Chapter 39 The Big Fat Sheep Tsunade. What? The screams came one after another. The few people who attacked Asuma, at this time, the wrist wound showed a bit of thunder and lightning burns, which reduced the blood flow from the wound a bit. Asuma was close at hand, so he could see clearly. Very fast and accurate knife. The grasp of the strength is also to the extreme, just to abolish their hands with the knife, without the slightest excess strength. At this time, Shisui also killed his target. Tie it up and take it back. Keiichi didn't scold him much. Asuma gritted his teeth, took out the rope from the ninja bag, and tied all the survivors. Afterwards, they cleaned up the surrounding corpses. Those people were wrapped with looted property, and even chickens and ducks that had just been killed. They were pinned to their waists, with blood dripping from them. Several people on the road kept begging for mercy, but no one responded. Later, they simply covered their mouths with cloth. The world is clean. Teacher, I'm sorry, if it wasn't for me. Asuma came up to apologize. If they weren't distracted, they wouldn't need the teacher's action at all. With their strength, they could completely deal with these desperados. You should apologize to your teammates. If it was on the battlefield, you were enough to be killed or even severely wounded just now. Even if you don't die, you will become a burden to your teammates. Hyunsu said lightly. Asuma reacted and turned to bow to Yukika and Shisui. Hong Yuhi hurriedly avoided, and then said, Teacher, I also have a great responsibility when Asuma encounters this situation. Those were just samurai, and would not dispel illusion at all. If her illusion can be used in time, she can control those few people. However, at that moment, she panicked. What about the water stop? I wanted to attack the opponent to force them to come back, but I didn't expect that they wouldn't save their teammates at all. Shisui was a little discouraged and was still reflecting. A smile appeared on Jingyi's face and said, We Konoha pay attention to the will of fire, protection and mutual assistance are our creeds, but they are different, they are robbers, licking blood from the knife's edge, and if a teammate dies, we can still get less points, money. Understood. Shisui nodded. If he had understood earlier, he would have chosen ninjutsu to cover the rescue instead of the current tactics. Hyunsu was very satisfied. Such a good student. Don't be stubborn, and there's nothing wrong with thinking. If it was replaced by Kakashi or Obito, I would have been pissed to death, and in this situation, it was actually very good among the rookie genin team. A normal genin team is definitely more chaotic than this. So, Jingyi didn't criticize him too much, and said, You know it's good to reflect. Actual combat and training and learning are completely different things. At least during training, there will be no blood splashing into your eyes. Yes, Asuma was a little ashamed. The teacher was talking about him. The reason why he was stunned for a second or two was related to the blood entering his eyes. Another reason was that he was really scared. Take it back and let the mayor see if it is this group of people. In addition, when the task is completed, let's take a look around to see where these people robbed and return the money. Yes, these wandering warriors must have just robbed a village. There are a lot of things, but for them, there is actually not much money. This kind of money is uncomfortable, and Jinyi has no idea of taking it for himself. Back to town, the mayor is on the site where the wall is being built. Asuma and the others were shocked when they saw the shadow clone helping to repair the wall, and it took a long time to react. Subsequently, Mayor, when we were patrolling, we encountered this group of wandering warriors. Are they the bandits who robbed Baiyun Town before? That's right, it's them. The mayor didn't recognize it. But the foreman next to him recognized it at a glance, because he was there on several occasions when he was robbed, and he almost died once. Jing nodded. That's right. He asked Shisui to hand over the man to them, then looked at it, and said, Asuma, help them repair it, I'll take a look around. Yes, Asuma had no objection, although they are all family members in Konoha, but they do different jobs such as fetching water and farming. Ninjas are just that, so, they didn't think anything was wrong. Jingyi's shadow clone stayed here, and he walked into Baiyun Town. I used chakra to perceive before. In addition to discovering the bandits from the west, I also found a person with a very strong chakra volume. He didn't know who it was, but this is the land of fire. After thinking about it, it is better to go and see. But Jingyi had some vague guesses. The 3 generations assigned this task. Obviously the possibility of betrayal and forbearance is not high. With such a large amount of chakra, it is likely to be the one. One of the 3 ninjas, Tsunade Heim. Jingyi used chakra perception to probe again and lock the opponent's position. After rushing over, he was basically sure that Tsunade Heim was right, because the destination was a casino, and not only that, as soon as he got here, he saw a group of people hurried in. Combined scenarios. Afraid not to collect debts. Just wait outside. If you go in now, Tsunade will be taken as a swindler instead of repaying the debt if you were not sure. The issue is, I don't even have any money. Although this month, I made some money by sharing the tasks, but compared to Tsunade's debt, it was a drop in the bucket. Jingyi sat on the roof, watching the fun with the grass in his mouth. After a while, from the other side of the casino, a woman came out of the window, followed by a little girl. A sin, he sighed softly. Mute left the village with Tsunade when he was 5 or 6 years old, and I am afraid that he has been living this kind of life for the past 3 years. But, what about the pig that was repeatedly used to pay off debts? Don't have it yet. Jingyi watched for a while, and saw Tsunade and the others chasing a lot of people behind, but those people were ordinary people after all, and they were the opponents of ninjas in terms of chasing and hiding. A turn, with the transformation technique. Okay, can't find it. It's really hard to chase Tsunade's debt. Jingyi sighed inwardly. If the person involved in debt collection is a ninja, I am afraid that he will be beaten. Next moment, he sensed a figure coming behind him. Stinky boy, when you see me being chased, you don't know how to come down to make a clearance. Hide here and watch the show, right? Turn around, really, Tsunade Heim, hiss. It is good, what a dazzling necklace. Jingyi looked away and said, Sir Tsunade, you will be fine, I am a poor man, and I can't even pay the debt. Besides, I paid back a sum, don't you want to bet next time? One of the principles. Never borrow money from betting dogs, even if the other party is Tsunade Heim. Humph, Tsunade didn't refute, looked at him a few times, then turned his head and snorted coldly. How much fun is gambling? The little ghost in the teacher's mouth has silver hair, and that appearance made her unconsciously think of Shinsho Togurama. I don't like gambling either. Tsunade-sama, where are you going? Mute jumped up, only to see a silver-haired boy sitting next to Tsunade. The two turned their heads, and their facial features were so similar. Tsunade ignored him, but turned his head and said, Little devil, how about going down for a drink? Have you lost all your money? Quote. Sure enough, so annoying. Chapter 40. You can't control the casino business. Inside the pub, Tsunade and Silent were sitting in a row. Kakashi was sitting on the opposite side, and there were 2 bottles of wine on the table. Little devil, don't drink when you are a teenager. It is the right way to cultivate well. Tsunade took all the wine to her side. Kyōichi was speechless. If you want to drink one more bottle, just say it. It's not that he doesn't invite him, he can't pay the debt, but he can still afford the wine. Master Tsunade, he is. Oh, I forgot to tell you that Kanda Jingyi, whom the old man mentioned in the letter a few days ago, is barely a relative. After a sip of wine, Tsunade's tone became more friendly. Although this boy is more annoying when he speaks seriously, she is very decisive in treating guests, which she appreciates. It turned out that Lord Hokage sent a letter. No wonder he appointed me to lead the team to do this task. Lead the team. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, looked at Jingyi a few times, and then understood. Are you a joinin? Yes, just promoted. Jing nodded. Tsunade stared at it for a few seconds, then his expression darkened slightly, and he lowered his head and drank a few glasses. Mute looked curiously for a few seconds, then nodded lightly. A family indeed, but Jingyi's behavior seems to be closer to the second-generation adults than the first-generation adults. She secretly thought. Tsunade drank a bottle, then picked up another bottle and poured a glass, before he said again, the old man asked you to persuade me to go back. No, I didn't even know I would meet you. In fact, Kyoichi is also thinking about it. Although I have the idea of looking for Tsunade to cut wool and learn ninjutsu, but I have no plans to implement it in the near future, but this is my own idea, and the 3 generations are definitely not clear. What does he mean? Didn't you say it? Huh, I understand. Tsunade sneered and picked up the wine to pour Kyoichi a glass. Sorry, I don't drink. Although most of the alcohol in the ninja world is actually very light, but Jingyi didn't drink in his previous life, and he didn't even have the idea of drinking after transmigration. Tsunade froze for a moment, then poured himself a glass. After drinking, bang, with a sound, the wine bottle burst directly, and the remaining wine flowed out of the crack. Mute was startled. She has been with Tsunade for 3 years, and she has never seen Tsunade drink so unpleasantly. Even if she didn't drink with her before, she didn't see it like this. What's going on? Don't drink, it's boring, let's go. Tsunade picked up the green jacket and put it on, and left his seat in a bad mood. Kyōichi was thoughtful. Judging from her mood, it seems that the 3 generations have talked with her about some things. Although they have not received any tasks, on their side, they want to use themselves as a relationship bond and let Tsunade return to Konoha. And, by allowing yourself to connect more with Tsunade, you can also deepen your relationship with the Naruto faction. Tisk, Kyōichi followed suit. Tsunade walked a few steps, crossed the street, approached the place where Asuma and the others were working, then found a roadside with railings, and looked at the 3 children working not far away. The teacher's child, the other 2, one should belong to Yuhi's family, and the other. The short one belongs to the Uchiha family. Yes, Uchiha Shisui, the descendant of Senior Jing, is just over 5 years old this year. Senior Mirror, no wonder. Kid, do you want to be Hokage? Tsunade's forward doesn't match up, but she asked this question seriously. Jingyi knew that she was probably thinking of rope tree. He thought about it, and finally shook his head and said, no, I'm not interested in the position of Hokage. To tell you the truth, I just want to be a teacher. Oh, Tsunade was a little surprised. The answer was beyond her expectations. But she could feel that Jing was really not interested in the location of Hokage. She was interested and put her thoughts behind her. Why, Hokage is too tired. I have no time to do my own thing when I become Hokage. Of course, this is my current thinking. Maybe there will be changes in the future. Hyungsu said bluntly, with a smile on his face. Tsunade pulled his hair behind his ears, looked sideways at him, and sighed. The Chinsho family has already been integrated into the entire Konoha, but after so many years, there is still someone who can inspire Chinsho power, and you are really similar to the second Hokage. My grandma seems to be very similar to the second generation of adults. Hyungsu nodded naturally. No, I mean your character and style. Tsunade said lightly. When she was a child, she occasionally clinged to Senju Tobama, but even if she was entangled, Senju Tobama still meticulously studied ninjutsu, read books, and thought about problems. And there are also no bad habits. It seems very regular, completely different from the first generation. Silent was shocked. Kakashi had awakened the blood of Chinsho. No wonder. She had wondered why Tsunade said she was going to visit Taki country before, but suddenly turned back to Baiyun town. It turned out to be specially waiting for Kakashi. However, it is really similar to the second generation, and the talent is also very good. At the age of 15, he became a Shainjin. Very impressive, Mute thought to himself. The two chatted on the side of the road, and they had a family relationship as a bond, and they quickly became acquainted. In terms of blood relationship, they are still cousins. Tsunade seemed to be in a better mood. After noticing the medical book on the corner of Jingyi's waist, he took out a key from his waist. Little devil, it's better to stay away from that location. This is my key to the Konoha mansion. There are some secret techniques and books in it, you can go and see. I'm not going back to Konoha. Tsunade threw him the key and leaned against the railing. Jing glanced at him and quickly retracted his gaze. It was clear that he was looking at it seriously, but when he glanced at it, he would always look over there. He took a deep breath, dispelled the image in his mind, and then said sternly, it's okay for you to relax outside, but you keep betting. It's not good. As far as I know, your gambling luck with the first generation adults seems to be not very good. Hey, brat, just complimented you, and it started, right? Tsunade gritted his teeth and said, there are a lot of right and wrong in casinos. People with bad luck and poor gambling skills like you are completely free money boys. Hyungsu shrugged. As he said that, a card popped out of his cuff and quickly changed at his fingertips. From the front, the situation is not visible at all. It's nothing. Kionjutsu was extremely difficult for Kyoichi in the previous life, but after crossing, with the speed of his ninja, it was easy to do it. Tsunade narrowed his eyes, then looked at Mute. Silently touched the pocket. The cards are theirs. Little devil, move quickly. Tsunade's eyes lit up. Can't see it, can you still play cards? These are trails, and besides, things like this. As Jingyi spoke, he learned to perform the 1,000 tricks of changing trump cards. Then he closed the card and said, Master Tsunade, you can't control the casino business. Why didn't I think of it? Xiao Jingyi, you're right, the casino is too dangerous, I can't control it, I'll show some tricks so I can take precautions. What if you roll the dice? Tsunade's eyes lit up, and his tone and title changed. That one is real, quote. Jing was speechless for a moment. Are you going for defense? Obviously want to learn a few more tricks.